क्षमा पतित प्रभु नाही त्रिभुवानि पतित प्रभु नाही त्रिभुवानि नन्ते त्रिनगरी Pavana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone chant please, enthusiastically. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai. Jaya Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai. Jaya Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai. Jaya Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai. Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Subhadra Mai, Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Shri Gopal, Jaya Shri Gopal. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Sam Bhakta Vrind ki jai. All glories to especially the devotees present and all the little children who sang so enthusiastically. Without them, no kirtan would have been possible. So, thank you so much. A warm welcome to all of you to today's our discussion on the Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, and a warm welcome to all the devotees who have joined online Hare Krishna, and my respectful pranams to all of you. So today we will attempt to discuss quite a few verses. The first chapter of the Adi Lila, entitled The Spiritual Masters. Just put this.
What is going on online thing?
Huh?
Zoom पे शायद आवाज नहीं आ रहा है. There's few voices complaining.
Are you able to hear on Zoom?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So let me just record this.
Recording in progress.
So before I start, I'd like to say the Mangala Charan. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatesha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everyone, please repeat. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
And we'll recite one more verse. Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Joto Bhakta Gana.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Joto Bhakta Gana.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnan.
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 Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnan.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnan.
So this chapter, entitled The Spiritual Masters, practically sets the tone for this entire literary gem, transcendental gem. And it is really brilliant how he starts the Caitanya Caritamrita and how he develops the Siddhanta and how he unravels the secrets of the verses that he shares in the beginning. So the first 14 verses of the Caitanya Caritamrita, they're called the Mangala Charan verses. So Mangala Charan means to invoke auspiciousness. Mangal means auspicious or good fortune. Acharan, invoking good fortune for everyone. And so the first 14 verses are prayers, and he will describe what a Mangala Charan is. So what we will do is, we will go to verse number 20. And we will recite the next 3 verses together. So you'll repeat after me. Okay. So verse number 20. We're going to start from verse number 20 and I'll explain why. Granther arambha kori mangala charana. Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smaran.
Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smaran.
Granther arambha kori mangala charana.
Granther arambha kori mangala charana.
Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smarana.
Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smaran.
So he's saying, in the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, Guru, Vaishnav, the devotees of the Lord, and Bhagavan, right, I have invoked their benediction. And then by invoking the benediction, what is the result? Right, that is in the next verse. Tinere smarana hoy vigna vinasha.
Tinera smarana hoy vigna vinasha.
Anayase hoy nija vanchita purana.
Anayase hoy nija vanchita purana.
Tinere smarana hoy vigna vinasha.
Tinera smarana
Anayase hoy nija vanchita purana. So by invoking such auspiciousness, what happens? That all our difficulties, right, vigna vinasha, all our obstacles, all our struggles, they are destroyed. And what do we get? Very soon, anyayase, right? Hoy nija vanchita puran. So that means that our search to seek deep fulfillment in this world, right, actually gets, you could say, it gets materialized. It gets, we feel deep fulfillment in our hearts when all these obstacles are gone, by remembering whom? Guru, Vaishnav and Bhagavan. And now he's going to explain. He says that Shai Mangala Charana hoy Trividha Prakara.
Shai Mangala Charana hoy Trividha Prakara.
Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvada Namaskara.
Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvada Namaskara.
Shai Mangala Charana hoy Trividha Prakara.
Shai Mangala Charana hoy Trividha Prakara.
Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvada Namaskara.
Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvada Namaskara.
So he describes that Mangala Charan is of 3 types. One is defining the objective or describing the objective. The other is offering benedictions, and the third one is offering obeisances. And this is exactly what he's going to do in these 14 verses. So he's going to either offer his pranams, or he's going to, as he's saying that, offer benedictions. And I'll give an example. If you look at the first verse, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktam, right? This is text 1. So what is he doing? He's offering his obeisances. So this is an example of a Mangala Charan where he is offering Namaskar. Now, you look at the fourth one. Then here he is offering a benediction. He's saying, may the Supreme Lord, who's known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Right? So he's offering a benediction. So that's another type of Mangala Charan. And the third type is defining the objective or describing the absolute truth. So which is text number 3. He's saying that what the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord known as the Super Soul is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. So wonderful. So he's describing the objective. And this way, in all these 14 verses, this is what he does. And he explains that in the first 6 verses, he describes Chaitanya Tattva. So the first 6 verses are about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The next 5 are about Lord Nityananda. So Nityananda Prabhu. So that's 11. Right? Then 2 are for Advaitacharya, Mahavishnu. 13. And 14 is to the Panchatattva. So 6, 5, 11, 2, 13 and 1. 6, 5, 2, 1. Okay? And Srila Prabhupada, before we start, I also want to share with you, there is an introduction before the first verse of the chapter. And in this introduction to this chapter, basically before every chapter, Srila Prabhupada writes an introduction. He gives the essence of what this chapter is about. And so brilliantly, so just like, you can sense the heart of Srila Prabhupada when he writes this introduction and so many other purports. But especially in this introduction, it's really a lesson for all of us that how he starts this, how he identifies himself, and how he identifies this work that he is presenting to all of us. So he starts with his saying that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the combined form of Sri Radha and Krishna. And then he does something really interesting. Then he says, the Goswamis are the direct disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is a disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami. And then he lists the parampara. From Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami came Narottam Das Thakur, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then Jagannath Das Babaji, then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then he says, the divine master of our humble self. So he's introducing that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the divine master of our humble self. So he's talking about himself. And now he says something really, he says that since we belong to this chain of disciplic succession from Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, this edition of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita will contain nothing newly manufactured by our tiny brains, but only remnants of food originally eaten by the Lord himself. So how is he presenting this work? He's presenting himself and this work as a gift of the parampara. This is not his creation or his innovative work. He's presenting the teachings of our great parampara. This is how he identifies, and this is how he identifies also his work. And then he says something really amazing. He says that even the most erudite mundane scholar cannot approach the transcendental plane unless he submits himself to the transcendental sound with a receptive mood. For in that mood, only one can realize the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he says in the fourth paragraph, and this is the last thing I'll read, he says, this edition of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita is presented for the study of sincere scholars who are really seeking the absolute truth. So who's it meant for? Sincere scholars who are seeking the absolute truth. So in one way he's saying that those who seek the absolute truth, they're real scholars. Not just knowing facts and figures and ability to write theses and be analytical, but one who is seeking the absolute truth. And then Srila Prabhupada, he gives a secret over here. He says, it is not the arrogant scholarship of a mental speculator. He says, this work is not the arrogant scholarship of a mental speculator, but a sincere effort to serve the order of a spiritual authority whose service is the life and soul of this humble effort. Anyone like to explain what Srila Prabhupada is saying here? There's another mic there. You can inaugurate that mic. It's brand new. By sharing something on this statement that Prabhupada is saying. Anyone online can also raise their hands if they would like to share. So I'll read this again. Prabhupada is saying, it is not the arrogant scholarship of a mental speculator, but a sincere effort to serve the order of a spiritual authority. So this work, what is he doing? This is an effort to serve the order of a superior authority, whose service is the life and soul of this humble effort. Now explain this. I want someone to... Yes, Prabhu, please.
So, what I understood is, Prabhupada is saying that it is not some kind of a speculation, and he's trying to serve his guru.
Yes.
Which is his life and soul.
Yes. So he's giving out a secret right in the beginning. The sound working? Not able to... It should work. You give me that?
It is on.
Hare Krishna. Just turn up the
Volume.
volume. Yes. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. The other one. Hare Krishna. Yes, it's working. Hare Krishna. Yes, both are working. And then, now he'll explain, what this chapter is about. And so now we'll go back. So in the first 14 verses, I've already explained what they're about. And now we are going to go to the 15th verse. Okay? Because what will happen is, in this chapter, Kaviraj Goswami will explain the first two verses. And then in the next 6 chapters, which is from 2 to 7, 6 chapters, he will reveal in great depth the meaning of the next 12 verses. So 2 verses in this chapter, and then 12 verses in the next 6 chapters. So we'll not go through the verses right now because we are going to go through them in great detail. In fact, in one chapter we'll discuss maybe 2 verses. So there's 7 chapters, 2 verses, 14. But in the 7th chapter there's only 1 verse. And in Lord Nityananda's chapter there's 5 verses. So, but this is how it goes. So, and then in the 15th verse, right, he will offer his pranams to the 3 main deities of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Right? All the devotees of Mahaprabhu, especially these 3 deities, are very, very dear to them. So anyone would like to recite verse number 15? Take the mic. Who's good in reciting? Yes, Mataji. Please give her the mic. You recite the first line and we will follow after you.
Jayatam Surato Pangor
Jayatam Surato Pangor
Mama Manda Mater Gati
Mama Manda Mater Gati
Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojo
Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojo
Radha Madan Mohano
Radha Madan Mohano. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. Then the next one. Anyone else would like to recite? Divya Vrindaranya Kalpa Dumadha
Singhasanasto
Srimad Ratnagar Simhasanasto
Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo
Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo
Preshtali Bhi Sevya Mano Smarami
Preshtalabhi Sevya Mano Smarami. In a temple of jewels in Vrindavan, underneath a desire tree, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. Anyone would like to recite the last one? Verse number 17.
Shriman Rasara Sarambhi
Shriman Rasara Sarambhi
Vamshi Vata Tatastita
Vamsi Vata Tatastitaha
Karshan Venu Swarnir Gopi
Karshan Venu Swanir Gopi
Gopinatha Shriyastuna
Gopinatha Shriyastuna. Sri Srila Gopinath, who originated the transcendental mellow of the Rasa dance, stands on the shore in Vamsivat and attracts the attention of the cowherd damsels with the sound of his celebrated flute. May they all confer upon us their benediction. So he's prayed to all the 3 principal deities of Vrindavan and the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And then we have already recited Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda. And now in verse 19 he says, Ei teen Thakura Gaudiya ke koriya chena atmasat. Ei tinere charana vandan tina moranath. Ei teen Thakura Gaudiya ke koriya chena atmasat. Ei tinera charana vandan tina moranath. These 3 deities of Vrindavan, Madan Mohan, Govinda and Gopinath, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Gaudiya Chena Atmasat. So they have totally captured the hearts of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And Ei Tinera Charana Vandan. So I pray I offer my pranams to their lotus feet because these three are my Nath. They are my life and soul. Eitina Mora Nath. So Prabhupada explains in the purport. Now this is the first purport in the Caitanya Caritamrita, verse number 19. And in this he explains that why these deities are dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Because Prabhupada explains that they have very specific qualities. He says in the third chapter, third paragraph. He says, worship of Madan Mohan is on the platform of re-establishing our forgotten relationship with the personality of Godhead. So Madan Mohan, he says, in the material world we are presently in utter ignorance of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Pango means that one who cannot move independently by his own strength, and Manda Mate is one who's less intelligent because he's too absorbed in materialistic activities. So in the beginning of our spiritual life, we must therefore worship Madan Mohan, so he may attract us and nullify our attachment for material sense gratification. So especially in the beginning of our spiritual lives, we're still very much attached. We struggle so much because we've got these bad habits from so many lifetimes and so many deep desires and so many deep attachments. And we forget who we are, what our relationship with the Supreme Lord is. And that's why Vedic knowledge has three components or three stages. So one is Sambandha Gyan. And Srila Madan Mohan Ji, they are the embodiment of Sambandha Gyan. Who we are, who the Lord is, what our relationship is, what is, where is this material world coming from, what is our relationship with, the Lord's energies. So Sambandha, unless we are clear about our Sambandha, then how can we make progress in our spiritual lives? So this is the first stage and very essential stage. And it's not something that, okay, now we're going to the next level, so we forget our Sambandha. What happens? The Sambandha, what happens to the Sambandha as we go to the next stage, which is the Abhidheya. Right? Abhidheya stage means that when we start practicing the rules and regulations of the scriptures to help us reawaken our Sambandha. So right now it is in a dormant state, sleeping state. That's why in this beautiful bhajan, Jeev Jago, Gaur Chandra Bole, right? That we are sleeping on the lap of Maya. Pishachi, the witch. But we are so comfortable in the lap and thinking this is great enjoyment. So this is our foolishness. And the more we realize our identity, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Lord, what are His qualities, what are His Shaktis, why is this material world created, where did we come from, why are we suffering? So all this knowledge and Sambandha Gyan. And then Prabhupada says, when one wishes to render service to the Lord with strong attachment, one worships Govinda on the platform of transcendental service. And the last stage, Prayojan, which is the perfection of our spiritual endeavors. Right? When by the grace of Krishna, the devotee and the devotees, so by the grace of Krishna and the devotees, one reaches perfection in devotional service, he can appreciate Krishna as Gopi Jana Vallabh, the pleasure deity of the damsels of Vraj. So what do we understand by this statement? By the grace of Krishna and the devotees, one reaches perfection in devotional service, he can appreciate Krishna as Gopi Jana Vallabh.
They achieve the perfection, they can really understand because gopis are the greatest devotees, so they can understand the bhav of gopi.
Yes. So this is a very initial stage of spiritual life or very advanced stage? Yes. So it's a great reminder for all of us that let's not cheat ourselves and let's not cheat others. So people do that to get publicity, Radha, Radha, Radha Bhav. But what will we understand of Radha Bhav in this conditioned state? The 6 Goswamis, they had transcended the desires of this body and the needs of this body. They could appreciate. They were, so absorbed in Radha Krishna Prem because they had nothing to do with this material world. They'd practically given up everything of this body, right? Eating to the minimum. No question of mating. No question of defending. They're sleeping under a different tree every night. They don't need a security system. And they don't need, guards and nothing. They're sleeping on the floor and on the dust of Vrindavan, under a tree. And hardly sleeping. So they could appreciate. Because they had transcended all their material desires. Actually, the Goswamis didn't have their Nitya Siddha devotees, but they present themselves in that way. So this is very important for us to understand. And then Prabhupada explains that what does it mean to be a Gaudiya Vaishnav? So he gives all the geographic details of what is considered Gaudiya, right? Which are the places that are considered Gaudiya. So he says, Gaudiya indicates the part of India between the southern side of the Himalayan mountains and the northern part of Vindhya hills, which is called Aryavarta, or the land of the Aryans. And then he says that this portion of India is divided into 5 parts or provinces: Pancha Gaudesha, Saraswat, Kashmir and Punjab, Kanya Kubja, UP, including modern city of Lucknow, Madhya Gauda, Madhya Pradesh, then Maithila, which is Bihar and part of Bengal, and Utkala, part of Bengal and the whole of Orissa. And he goes on to say that even sometimes Bengal is called Gauda Desh, partly because it forms a portion of Maithila, and partly because the capital of the Hindu king Raja Lakshman Sena was known as Gauda. The old capital later came to be known as Gaudapur and gradually Mayapur. And then he also makes this statement. He says the devotees of Orissa are called Uriyas, the devotees of Bengal are called Gaudiyas, and the devotees of southern India are known as Dravida devotees. And there's more detail you can read. He describes even the South India, how it's described into 5 different parts. So you have this detail that you can read. And then, although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, but the Vaishnavas prefer themselves to call themselves Gaudiya Vaishnavas, or the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? And Prabhupada gives in the purport why. he says that there are some followers of Madhvacharya called the Tattvavadis. And they're not, you could say, bona fide followers. And usually the followers of Madhvacharya are called Tattvavadis. So instead of the Gaudiyas aligning themselves to them, they prefer that no, we were direct followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is their sentiment. And then Prabhupada also explains that later on in one of the purports in the Caitanya Caritamrita that in the Bhagavatam there is this section where Lord Brahma gets bewildered. And he tries to steal the calves and somehow some of the followers of Madhvacharya, they don't accept this bewilderment of Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma is ultimately the leader of the parampara. So they don't comment on it, or they don't accept that. So that's why the Gaudiyas they accept that yes, it may have been, it was possible. So they identify themselves as the followers of Gaudiya, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. So now that he has explained what a Mangalacharan is, he has explained, the three deities that are dear to all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Now we are going to go to text number 30. So we've actually covered 29 verses. Okay. Either we have gone through the verse or have explained that in English. So in verse number 30, now again he makes a plea. He says, Sabashrutta Vaishnavare Kori Namaskara. Ei Sabashlokere Kori Artha Vichara. Sabashrutta Vaishnavare Kori Namaskara. Ei Shlop Shlokera Kori Artha Vichara. So now he's going to start, right, gradually unraveling these amazing verses that he has shared in the beginning, the first 14 verses. But before that, he's going to make a request. He says that I request that please, Shuno Kori Ekaman. Shakala Vaishnava Shuno Kori Ekamana. Chaitanya Krishnera Shastra Mata Nirupama. So there are two very important words that I want you to keep in mind for all of us. First thing is that this Artha Vichar, unless we do this of, the verses we read, the purports we read, then this will not remain with us for a long time. But when we actually analyze these verses, why is this being said in this way? What is the meaning? How can we apply this? How is this relevant to us? Unless we go deep and then we ask ourselves this question, where am I in relation to this verse? Where is my consciousness in relation to this verse? Unless we do this, then what happens? Gradually, we may hear a very good class, or we may, enjoy reciting verses, but gradually, after a few hours, it's gone. you can take it as a guarantee. Right? No matter how much you may enjoy or how much attention you hear this talk, if you don't contemplate, by the time in the morning tomorrow, you'll definitely forget half of it. Okay? And by the end of the day tomorrow, 99% will be gone. By the week means nothing, like it'll all be like blank. Kuch nahi pata hoga. I'm telling you this recent example. That day we had a Gaur Nitai's appearance day, and Maharaj gave a wonderful talk. And I summarized the talk after the class. I told Maharaj talked about this and talked about that. And then after 5 days I was trying to remember what did Maharaj say in the class. And I did, I did this amazing, or some devotee said, you summarized it so nicely. So, and I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember anything. Means it was 0 by 0. Nothing. So, lost, right? Benefit lost. So that was a good reminder for me, and I'm sharing with you that this is what happens if you don't do this vichar, and this is why he's saying this. Later on, there's another beautiful verse. He says, Shri Krishna Caitanya Daya Karo He Vichara. Everyone louder. Shri Krishna Caitanya Daya Karo He Vichara. Vichar korile chitte pabe chamatkar. Vichar korile chitte pabe chamatkar. Isn't this a chamatkar verse? But before it can become chamatkar, some work has to be done. Because if we sincerely do this contemplation, we'll be impelled to act on that. If we do deep contemplation of any subject matter, what happens? Suddenly there's an awakening. There's a conviction that goes. There's a realization that comes, yes, now I've got to put this in practice. Then the verses become alive for us when we start putting them in practice. So this contemplation is a prerequisite for sincere practice. Without contemplation, it's very difficult. It'll just be information and we'll forget very soon. And now we'll go to verse number 32. It's a very, very important verse. This verse is the Bengali version of the first shloka. Okay? So this is the brilliance of Kaviraj Goswami. So he breaks these verses down into simple, relishable verses in a language that most people can understand. Right? Remember his audience? Who's his audience? Last time we discussed?
Bengal, Odia and Odia.
Yes, because maximum followers are from there. Right? So let us relish this verse. Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakasha.
Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakasha.
Krishna ei chhoye rupe kore na vilasa.
Krishna ei chhoye rupe kore na vilasa.
Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakasha.
Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakasha.
Krishna ei chhoye rupe kore na vilasa.
Krishna ei chhoye rupe kore
Now we'll go faster. Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakasha. Krishna ei chhay rupe kare na vilasa. So next time there's a good mridanga player, we can actually sing and dance, right, to this verse. So beautiful. So he says that Lord Krishna enjoys. How does Krishna enjoy? Ei chhoy rupe. Right? In this 6 features, Krishna enjoys himself. Karena vilasa. And what are these 6 forms? Krishna, his original form. Guru, Bhakta, Shakti, Avatar, and Prakash. Means direct manifestation. Prakash, like Lord Balaram. Prakash. So easy to understand all these words. We don't need to spend money. We'll spend time as we go through. So now we'll go to verse number 34. We'll read this one. And we will read... okay, yes. We will read like 5 or 6 verses and then I will explain them together with the purports. Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Isha Avatarakan Tat Prakasham Tat Shakti Krishna Caitanya Samgyakam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord. So Vande Gurun, spiritual masters, Isha Bhaktan, that means the devotees of the Lord, Isham, the Lord himself, and Isha Avatarakam, the Lord's incarnations, and Tat Prakashams, that means the Lord's plenary portions, his energies, and the Lord himself, which I already said. Okay. So he's offering his obeisances to all the 6 that we just mentioned and in the verse that we recited before. And then what he does is he offers his obeisances to his mantra guru and his siksha guru. He says, this is another very beautiful verse. Mantra guru ar joto siksha guru gana. Tanhare charana age koriya vandan. So he's offering his respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of his spiritual master and all his instructing spiritual masters. Vande Gurun. Gurun is plural. And then he offers his obeisances to the 6 Goswamis, acknowledging them as his spiritual masters. Right? And he says, I offer millions of respectful obeisances unto their lotus feet. Tan Shobare Pada Padme Koti Namaskar. And in 38, he offers his obeisances to Srivas Thakur and all the innumerable devotees. And then he offers in 39 to Advaita Acharya, in text number 40 to Nityananda Ram, and in 41 to Gadadhar Pandit, and then in 42 he offers his obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. And now he says, now that I've offered my obeisances to each one of them individually, right? What he's done, so he offered it in a general way, now he offered it in a specific way, and now he says, now I'm ready to go. By their blessings, now I'm going to attempt to unravel the intricacies of this verse now, the verse number 1. So in text 44, right? So we will recite 44, 45, 46 and 47 together, and then I'll attempt to explain this. 44. Yadyapi amar Guru Chaitanya Das Tathapi janiye ami tanhara prakash Guru Krishna rupe hoy shastra pramane Guru rupe Krishna kripa kore na bhakta gane Acharya mam vijaniyan Navamanyate karichit Namartya buddhaya suyeta Sarvadeva maya guru. Text number 47. Shiksha guru keta jani Krishna swarupa. Shiksha guru keta jani Krishna swarupa. Antaryami bhakta shreshta ei dui rupa. So now he's saying in 44, he says, although I know my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. And he says, according to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna is the form of the spiritual master. In the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Korena Bhakta Gane. In which roop? Guru Rupe Krishna Korena Kripa Bhakta Gane. So this is how Krishna bestows his mercy, through his form of the spiritual master. And in 46, now this is the brilliance of Kaviraj Goswami. Everything he asserts, what does he do? He backs it up by a statement in our scriptures. Now this is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, and Krishna is speaking himself to Uddhav. Right? And he is saying, one should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. So we should know the Acharya to be Krishna himself. And what are the things we shouldn't do? We shouldn't disrespect him, we shouldn't envy him, and we shouldn't think that he is an ordinary person. For he is the representative of all the Devtas. Sarvamaya, what do you say? Sarva Deva Maya Guru. Very, very important verse that we should all memorize. And then he says, one should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the super soul and the greatest devotee of the Lord. So how does Krishna manifest himself? He manifests himself as the super soul in our hearts, that is internally, and externally as the spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada explains amazingly in these. If you want to understand Guru Tattva, right, if you read all these purports, everything becomes so clear. Okay. So first of all, let's start. So what I've done is I'm not going to go line by line. what I've done is I've taken all the main points from Srila Prabhupada's purports and put them under different headings. So the first one is the definition of a guru. Okay. Who is a guru? So Prabhupada explains that guru is plural in number because anyone who gives spiritual instructions based on the revealed scriptures is accepted as a spiritual master, as a guru. So someone who's giving instructions based on revealed scriptures. Not his creation, not what he thinks, not what his innovation is, okay, but based on revealed scriptures. And then he says that the guru is one who initiates, so that's one type of guru with the Maha Mantra. And then there are those who give instructions for progressive advancement in Krishna consciousness, are called instructing spiritual masters. So two types. One is the Diksha Guru and one is the Shiksha Guru. So don't read now because you'll not be able to catch because it's all over all these. So you can just hear. And then I'll send you the notes and then you can read the purports. And then he explains that the Guru is also called an Acharya, one who teaches by example. And in the Vayu Purana, Prabhupada says, an Acharya is defined as one who knows the import of the Vedic literatures. So who has knowledge of our Vedic literatures. And not only does he have knowledge, he abides by their rules and regulations. So he lives the teachings and imports of the scriptures. And he abides by them. And then what else does he do? He also teaches his disciples to act in the same way. It's such one-liner. This is like a sutra. Right? What is an Acharya? This is coming right from the Vayu Purana. Right? Prabhupada has quoted. And then he explains, he says, in the Manu Samhita, again, see how Prabhupada also like a lawyer, he's giving references. Like a transcendental lawyer. Right? This is from Vayu Purana. Now this is from the Manu Samhita. He explains that he says that a bona fide spiritual master accepts charge of disciples, teaches them the Vedic knowledge with all the intricacies, and gives them their second birth. So another definition. And so now the question is, what is the role of a spiritual master? Specifically. So a spiritual master just to give us orders? So Prabhupada explains so beautifully. He says that a spiritual master is not an enjoyer of facilities offered by the disciples. So very clearly Prabhupada is making it very clear. Spiritual master, not that someone who says, yes, disciples are bringing this and so much. Someone's giving the spiritual master an iPhone, someone's giving them a Rolex watch, and someone's giving, coming in a Mercedes, So, and you think, wow, Guru banna hai, ये बड़ा अच्छा एक position है, cool, huh? Everything handed on a platter. Right? You don't even ask, and then disciples are coming and giving. No. He says he is like a parent. Guru is like a parent. Without the attentive service of the parents, a child cannot grow into manhood. So we all grew up as children. And who had a great role in our upbringing? Could we have grown up the way we grew up without our parents? No. Because we had supportive parents, caring parents. That's why we are here. And he says, so Prabhupada says that without the care of the spiritual master, one cannot rise to the plane of transcendental service. So just like a child cannot grow up healthy, balanced, mature way, similarly we can't grow to the transcendental plane without the plane of transcendental service. And then the Guru, he says, knows well how to engage his disciples' energy in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And he engages a devotee in a specific devotional service according to his special tendency. So according to each one's nature, the Guru gives different engagements. So one may be a good salesman, right? So the Guru says, yes, here you go. This is the best thing to sell. Go and make a sale. Right? So they become good book distributors. They become, they make good life members. That's their inclination. Then some are like, they are so immersed in puja. So in worship of the deity. So then they get that instruction that now you engage. Someone is a businessman. So the Guru says, okay, you continue with your business, but you engage your resources, your talents, and the fruits of your labor, right, in the service of the Lord. So the Guru is responsible in engaging the disciples according to their specific tendency. And then Prabhupada says something really beautiful. He says the spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in a service attitude. So beautiful. These are like amazing sutras. Spiritual master's his eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord. And then another line he says, the function is to guide the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. So in these few lines, beautiful lines, Prabhupada explains what the role of the spiritual master is. And so do you think that in order to make progress in spiritual life, spiritual master is absolutely essential? How many of you think it's absolutely essential? Everyone. Okay. Yes, it's absolutely essential. Prabhupada writes, he says that one who doesn't accept a spiritual master is sure to be baffled in his endeavor to go back home, back to Godhead. And then he says, one who's not properly initiated may present himself as a great devotee, but he is sure to encounter many stumbling blocks on the path of spiritual realization. And then he says that a person without a spiritual master, he compares himself to a helpless person, like a ship without a rudder. So no, directionless. For such a ship can never reach its destination. It is imperative, therefore, that one accept a spiritual master if he or she at all desires to gain the favor of the Lord. The service of the spiritual master is essential. So it's not something good to have, but it's a must-have. And what does it mean to accept a guru, right? Or to accept? What does it mean? What does it mean? How do we surrender?
To follow his instructions completely as a heart.
Yes. To make their instructions our heart and soul. And that's why, because the role of the spiritual master is so essential in helping us, right, through this turbulent ocean of Maya. The position of the spiritual master is very, very important to understand. What is Krishna saying? The spiritual master should be treated as? Yes. They should be treated on the same level as we treat the Supreme Lord. This is a very, very difficult thing to understand. How can I treat, Guru as God? Now, how do we understand this? That one must treat the spiritual master as good as God. So firstly, just as Kaviraj Goswami makes it clear, he says, Yadyapi Amar Guru Chaitanya Das. Although I know my Guru to be the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, right? So the Guru is also a servant of the Lord. Guru is not God. Yet I offer him the same respect that I offer God. So this is a very clear, deep understanding. That not that now Guru has become God. I got Diksha. Now, Guru. Jai Gurudev, that's it. Guru was Bhagavan. Guruji Bhagavan Swayam. But, so Prabhupada reminds us that every living entity is essentially a servant of the Supreme Lord, and the spiritual master is also his servant. Okay, God's servant. But, because the spiritual master is a direct manifestation of the Lord, with this conviction, right, a disciple can advance in Krishna consciousness. And the spiritual master is not different from Krishna because he's manifestation of Krishna. So he's, as a teacher, he's a manifestation of the Supreme Lord himself. And Prabhupada says that he's a confidential servitor of the Supreme Lord, because the spiritual master has so much love for the Supreme Lord, and his only interest is to serve the Lord and expand the service of the Lord. No other agenda. To serve the Lord and to expand the service of the Lord. And that's why, so if we are connected with someone whose only purpose is to help us love the Supreme Lord, the Lord is telling us surrender. Guru is helping us surrender. So therefore, the Guru's position is as good as the Supreme Lord himself. The Guru and Krishna are one in their mission. They're one in their mission. They're fully aligned. Krishna is telling everyone to surrender. Guru has surrendered his life, and he wants us to also connect deeply and experience the true love and joy that our souls are hankering for, which is not available through material means. It's just not there. And it has been tried and tested by billions and billions of living entities over billions of years. Result is the same. So I would like to just end here, because and maybe a few of the points I'll take next time. Now this section, I called it the secret of success. And why did I call it this? Because Srila Prabhupada in one purport, he writes this. Okay, please listen carefully. One who tries to understand God simply by logical arguments will not succeed, nor will he get a taste for unalloyed devotion. So he says in the purport, right in the beginning, first thing he says, what is our goal? Our goal is uncontaminated devotional service, unalloyed devotional service. That means pure. Right? Ahituki apratihata bhakti. This is our goal. But by logical arguments, we are not going to get any taste for unalloyed devotion. Now let's read this. The secret is that one must submissively listen to those who know perfectly the science of God. And one must begin the mode of service regulated by the preceptor. So this is the secret of success. He says the secret is that one must submissively listen to those who know perfectly. So we listen, and then we must begin the mode of service regulated by the preceptor. And where do we hear this? In the Gita. Same thing. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. Tattvadarshi means someone who has seen the truth. Prabhupada saying one who knows perfectly the science of God because he has seen the truth. So we must inquire submissively and then we must engage in their service. And the last thing I'd like to read, this was in the Caitanya Caritamrita, right in the beginning. Now I'll read you one more line from the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, verse number 8. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is the 8th verse. Okay. So here Prabhupada is, Vyasadeva is saying, right, and because you are submissive, who's this? Who's being addressed over here? Suta Goswami. Okay? Because Suta Goswami, you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. Why? Because he was submissive and he was gentle. Now listen to this line. The first line in the purport. The secret of success in spiritual life is in satisfying the spiritual master and thereby getting his sincere blessings. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada. Yasya aprasada nagati kutopi. And you will be astounded to know that in every canto, Prabhupada writes, the secret of success is to satisfy the spiritual man. Every canto, you do a search, secret of success is there in the Gita, and it is there in every canto. Almost every canto. I can say for sure, at least 7 of the, or 8 of the 10, of the 12 cantos, you will find this. And sometimes you'll find a few in the same canto. So Vande Gurun, this is what we've covered today. Okay. In the first 45 verses, or 47 verses. So thank you all very much for hearing. So if you have any questions or anything you'd like to, your realizations from hearing Srila Prabhupada's purports and Kaviraj Goswami's beautiful verses. Sorry, I went over a little bit today, 1 hour and 5 minutes, but I thought should end because I was almost there on the edge. So, yes, you take the mic. Who has the mic? Yes. So we want to thank Sadgun Narayan Prabhu for organizing the speaker.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much Prabhuji for this wonderful class. Prabhuji, in text 47,
Yes.
it is written, one should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the super soul and is the greatest devotee of the Lord. Prabhuji, can you please define instructing spiritual master? Who is instructing spiritual master?
So yes, one more thing I like to one paragraph. So Prabhupada says that one can have many instructing spiritual masters, but the one who we hear most from, ideally we should accept Diksha from them. So he gives a clue. Right? Sometimes say, kya kare Prabhuji, kisse ne, kya kare? Right? So who do you like to hear, and who invokes the most surrender in you? Right? Because the real process is hearing and serving. Right? Prabhupada writes in one purport, he says that physical association, one second, let me just get that. It's a beautiful purport he writes. He says that, where is that? Yes, he says, if there is no chance to serve the spiritual master directly, a devotee should serve him by remembering his instructions. There is no difference between the spiritual master's instructions and the spiritual master himself. In his absence, therefore, his words of direction should be the pride of the disciple. So beautiful. So not only in his absence, but also in his presence. So the instructing, so we can have many instructing spiritual masters, but what I understand is that it can't be just, anyone just giving some instruction, but we hold them in a reverential position. Just like we hold our Guru. So the one who are taking instruction from, we also revere them in the same way. Not that, okay, I take, someone instructing, light. It's not a light relationship. Even with the instructing spiritual master, it is a relationship of service. Right? Hearing and serving. Yes, please.
On the same, sorry I missed the question, but on this instructing spiritual master.
Yes.
I was reading in this text only that they are on the same level.
Yes.
The initiating spiritual master and the instructing spiritual master. And generally, because we take classes of so many devotees and we get inspired from so many devotees, but the position of instructing spiritual master is very high in terms of when we compare it with the initiating spiritual master. And at one of the quotes of our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, where he was mentioning that generally the preachers, they should be considered as class monitors. The
Yes.
position of instructing a spiritual master is very, very high. They are as good as the instructing, the initiating spiritual master.
Yeah, that's what I just told him.
Yes.
So it's not like a light YouTube session. Yes. That we heard this and we heard that, and thoda sa yahan se liya, thoda sa wahan. But when we are talking about real Siksha Guru, means in seriousness, we hold them at a same level as our Guru Maharaj.
So that means, Prabhu, who is mentoring you kind of?
Yeah, who's mentoring you and whose instructions you're taking to heart. And ideally, the instruction should be aligned with what your Diksha Guru is also giving. Right? They can't be, okay, Diksha Guru is telling you, okay, no, you continue your seva as your, maybe your business you continue, and then, Siksha Guru is saying, no, you give up and you renounce everything. So then there'll be a lot of confusion.
Is there any difference between scriptures and revealed scriptures?
No, scriptures are revealed. Yes.
One question. So one thing you mentioned, the mission of Guru and Krishna is same, to make the souls serve the Lord.
Yes.
So I can understand from the Guru point of view. So Guru can help, can make the souls to serve the Lord, but the Lord also has the same mission to get service from the souls.
So there's two ways of looking at it. Yes, the Lord wants us to reconnect with Him deeply. Right? But ultimately, when we are deeply connected with the Lord, are we only serving the Lord, or the Lord is also serving us? The Lord is more keen to serve us. And He's also serving us now. In this conditioned state, the Lord is serving us as a super soul. So, this is one type of service. And then when we are matured, right, then the Lord plays with us and does so many things with us that He does with His eternal associates. He's serving them just like an ordinary person. And that's the position that the Lord enjoys more.
To serve His
Yes.
devotees.
Yes, He wants us to, chastise Him. He wants us to, get on His back so He can carry us. But for that we have to have the adhikar. When we have that love, then then Krishna gives Himself.
Can we understand that when the Lord wants us to serve Him, that is also for our benefit only?
Yes. Otherwise He is the fully satisfied. Atma Rama.
And the Guru also does the same thing. That's why they are at the same level.
Yes, so Guru's mission and Lord's mission is the same. And Guru has realized this and given himself fully to the Lord, surrendered fully, loves the Lord, and he wants us to love the Supreme Lord. So Nimai is saying, Papa, time is up. Child is the father of man. No? So we will stop here today. So today we will have prasadam directly. Huh? क्या हुआ? Huh? Achha, so those who want to go and have prasad, you can go down. Those who want to stay for Gaur Aarti, you can stay here. And then we will, some of you may want to go to the temple, so you can just have quick prasadam and leave. And then those who want to not go into the temple, we can do Gaur Aarti for 10 minutes, okay? And then we will start prasad. Yes. So just let me ask anyone online if you have any questions. All the devotees, yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Navanitaka Mataji, yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for being there, for making us possible to attend online. Prabhuji, I have one question. Like in the beginning, you described, you divided the verses from 1 to 6, 7 to 11, 12 to 13. What was for verse 14 describing what?
Panchatattva, yes. Combined together.
Can't hear you.
Panchatattva combined together.
Okay. And the descriptions you were mentioning about the two verses in chapter 1 from 7 to 12, that was too fast. I couldn't
Yeah, so don't worry about that. That is just detail. I said we will do the first 2 verses are in chapter 1, and the rest are in the next 6 chapters. So chapter 1 through 7, they explain all the 14 Mangalacharan verses. Okay? Yes.
So when we read, we will read in order only, no?
Yeah, we are reading in order only. Yes. We have read the first verse today. We have read the first verse today, and we have covered only